What up? What up? We back. Rash again. Okay, so now that we got our session, right? Now that we got our actually, I'm sorry. Now that we have our recording, now it's time to edit, and this will usually look something like this. So we have our fully recorded service right here. So now it's time to get started editing. Now, the first thing we want to do is to fade the beginning and the end of the session. And how we're going to do that is we'll be going up here to where I'm pointing. So where that pointer is, we're going to go up there and we're going to switch our pointer into a fade tool. See, you see where the check is? We're at our pointer tool right now. So we're going to go all the way down until we hit our fade tool. Now we can make fades. And then I usually fade the end first since it's easier. So we're going to zoom. We're going to zoom in. Let me see. I'll show you guys how to zoom outside the video. So we'll zoom and then we can scroll to the end and then zoom again. Matter of fact, we'll zoom again until we get about here. Now, do you see these numbers up here? Now, I usually zoom in until there's 4 bars between the actual numbers. So we see 23, 21, and then 23, 25. That's how many measures or bars that we're counting. Because when we fade, we're going to want to go at least 4 bars. So you see where the end is at 23:25, and then I faded it until 23:21, or faded to 23:21. So there's 4 bars within it. So it basically is a 4-bar fade. So that's where we want to zoom it to. Now that we now that we faded the end, now it's time to go back to the beginning. And you can either go down here to this where the little circle is and then scroll all the way to the beginning, or use the keyboard to zoom, but we'll get into that outside. I'll show you how to do everything outside the video. So we're going to want to do the same thing to the beginning. So now we see bar number 1 because that's where the beginning of the file is, and then bar number 5. So there's going to be another 4-bar fade in the beginning, and then we'll click outside to where the pointer is and then drag to where we see the 5 at, or somewhere close. So again, we have another 4-bar fade. So let's try it again. So we're gonna click, hold, and then drag. Why is it not doing it? Okay, we'll try it again. Click, hold, and then drag, and then let everything go to complete the fade. So we successfully faded the beginning and the end of our file. Now what we want to do is sync the beginning of the file with the intro music and outro music, which is down here, right? So what we want to do next is we're going to want to switch back to our pointer tool because we're done with our fade tool. So we'll switch back here, and again, this is the intro file that we want to sync this with. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to drag this over. So we're going to click, hold, then drag. Now you see the white line that's going vertical? We're going to want to drag it about there, about the end of that fade. Boom. You see that white line? That white vertical line? That's where we want to have that line to, about the end of that fade of the intro music. So we're done here. So we're done syncing that. So that way, while the intro music is fading out, Pastor is actually fading in, and you'll hear the smooth transition. Now we're gonna want to go to the end of the file now because we want to fade that. So we're gonna want to, or sync that. I'm sorry. We're gonna want to zoom out, back out, and again I'll teach you guys how to zoom. And then we're gonna scroll to the end of our service. Now you see this file right here. This is the outro. So what we want to do is we're going to want to move the outro towards the end of our recording file. So about right there. Now we want to sync everything correct. So what we want to do is we're going to want to zoom into that part. And we're going to click the intro. I'm sorry, we're going to click the outro. We're going to hold it, and then we're going to drag until about right there, until the end of the fade of the recording and the beginning of the music. So that's pretty much where you want to keep everything at. Alright, and then now we're halfway done. We got everything synced. Now we want to basically set everything up to actually bounce the file. So what we're going to do now is zoom back out a little bit, not too much, and we're going to scroll to the very end of the file or of the session until you see that. You can even zoom out more if you like. So what we're going to do next is we're going to click on this, click on the end of that, and we're going to drag this all the way back until we get to the end of the file. Because if we don't do this, then when we render our file, it's going to render the whole session, which is probably going to be about 5 hours if we don't do this. So we want to mark the end of the session right here where the end of the outro is. And when we zoom in, you'll see. And we'll fine tune it so this will be with the end of the session. Okay? So that's where you want to have it. And we're pretty much done. And when we zoom all the way out to look at the whole session and drag everything to the beginning, this is what you want it to look like. And then hit the stop button to bring your playhead back to the session, which is that. But this is what you want everything to look like. And what you're going to do next is we're going to actually unmute the music now. The reason why I have it muted in the first place is so you don't hear the music while Pastor is speaking, obviously. But at the end of everything, we're going to want to unmute it because we want to hear the music on the CD. So now you're basically ready to render the services. And how we'll do that is we're going to go all the way here, and where you see the button bounce, we're going to bounce it. So we'll hit the bounce button, and whatever the name of the service is, we're going to type that name in. So say the service name is The King in His Kingdom Part 4. We're going to type that in. Part 4. And I'm going to want you guys to take a quick look at how everything is set up. So we have our name, and we're going to render it as an MP3 file. So make sure MP3 is checked. And it's usually already checked, so you don't really have to do anything. Really, you don't really have to do anything, but I just want you guys to make sure everything is set up correctly. You don't have to worry about this. Make sure the start is at 1, always. And then the end, you don't really have to worry about the end too much. Excuse, my phone is ringing right now. We're going to do an offline mode. You don't really have to worry about that because it's already set up. Keep the normalize off. And when everything is done, we're going to hit the bounce button. I'm not going to hit it now because there's not enough space on the computer for me to bounce. But when everything is said and done, you'll hit the bounce button. And that's basically it. We successfully recorded our session. So in the next video, I'm going to actually show you how to make a CD. Alright, so see you in the next go around. Peace.